That'll likely happen within the next few hours. We expect him to arrive around 11 a.m., so that would be 3 hours from now, at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. He'll be taken into custody there, read his constitutional rights, and fingerprinted. Now, whether there's a mugshot, we do not know. There's conflicting information about that. But one thing is most certainly unlikely, that we will see him in handcuffs paraded before TV cameras.
Yes, so we understand that the court hearing will not be televised. Is that correct?
That is correct. A judge has denied requests from media organizations to televise it. Trump's defense attorneys rejected that. So there will be reporters in the courtroom, and it'll be very old-fashioned as far as what we'll see from that, with artists with sketchbooks releasing their drawings later on.
Yeah. How long do you think that process will take, Steve?
It should happen fairly quickly, as far as the arraignment, which is scheduled for 2:30 this afternoon. He will then hear from a judge, and there is the possibility that, in addition to the reading of the charges, that the judge could, I stress could, issue a gag order against the former president, forbidding him from talking about this case, or telling him that, depending on what he says, some of the inflammatory language, that he could face additional charges for essentially trying to interfere with this legal process.
That is really fascinating, because he's been very vocal about the Attorney General, against the judge. So he is planning to go back to Mar-a-Lago after this, and we're expected to see some comments from him where we would have thought he would have been raging against today's proceedings.
He will almost certainly be making comments, and it would be interesting if there's a gag order, as whether he would abide by that or ignore it. He has scheduled a sort of speech/rally inside his private club at Mar-a-Lago in Florida this evening. And it'll also be interesting to see how many television networks decide to carry that live, or will refrain from putting the former president, who will now be a suspected criminal, on the air live.
Yeah. Steve, you know, there's been so much security around his arrival in New York. They were expecting a lot of protesters on the streets. From what we're seeing at the moment, there doesn't necessarily seem to be that kind of turnout just at the moment.
Right now, there's more media around the courthouse than protesters, either pro-Trump or anti-Trump. Now, we do know security will be very heavy. New York Police Department, of course, is used to handling demonstrators and large crowds. The city, of course, hosts the UN General Assembly every autumn. So they will be well prepared for this. We know that several blocks around the courthouse will be sealed off. Now, one Trump supporter, a member of Congress from the state of Florida, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is planning to hold a pro-Trump rally across from the courthouse around the time that Trump is to arrive. It's possible that the president might stop there and make brief remarks or wave to that crowd. That remains to be seen. Of course, the president has his own Secret Service detail, but we do almost certainly expect to hear from him this evening back in Florida after he flies back there.
And you know, you make a good point, Steve. The security detail around him, of course, is being paid by the US government. So this whole the way it's playing out is costing an enormous amount of money.
Well, all former presidents do have a Secret Service protection, and presumably that will continue no matter if the former president is convicted and in one scenario would be jailed. But that's a long way off. This process, we expect, will be something that his defense attorneys will want to drag out as long as possible, hopefully for them, beyond the 2024 presidential election.
Yes, and he says he's raised $7 million since this news broke. Is this giving him the momentum to really be the forerunner for the Republican nomination?
He is the front runner right now. In second place is an undeclared but expected candidate, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida. And the few that have declared for the Republican primary are polling in the single digits. And Trump does seem to get a boost from any publicity, even when it's negative publicity, even when he's being facing criminal charges.
Yeah. Steve, really great to see you again. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.